It kind of looks like it's thrown up, to be honest.
Exactly.
It looks like the whale's just like it spills its guts.
Right? The path of least resistance almost.
Yeah.
Versus if it exploded like an actual explosion, it would go everywhere, but it kind of just comes out the one. We can wander our way over, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility?
817. Clink.
Clink.
Hey.
How we doing?
Good. Fantastic.
Good.
Wonderful.
Good.
My favorite opening, and I have the audio saved, everybody. Not to play for you guys, so don't sorry if I got too excited there, but Matt Buddy, in one of his interviews, I want to say it's the fourth time he's on, I think it's the fourth or fifth time he's on, if he's been on 5 times. He comes on too much. But he opens up and he goes, how you doing, Matt? Good. Then he goes, takes a deep breath and goes, you know what, Mark? I'm doing well. So my question, you were doing good, and then somewhere in 4 seconds, you went from good to well, but the well sounds better than the good.
Well, I mean, if it's an intro, then it's the year anniversary, because that's the only time I've ever had a guest on at the beginning.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's the only time most of the time our guests come in later.
Yeah, but you still say, hey, how's it going?
Oh, all the time. But to Matt. I mean, we say that to Matt all the time. It's Matt, buddy, how you doing?
Has he caught on to that?
Oh, yeah. That's why he calls me Mark Buddy.
That's why he calls you Mark Buddy, because he called him Matt Buddy. But does he ask you how it's going in the same way?
Oh, yeah, he does.
But it's different. Same, different.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I do get what you're saying, but he totally does. He goes, Mark, buddy, how are we doing?
Yeah, but my answer to that is he just responding because that's been what Matt, buddy, how's it going? That's the whole phrase, and that's how he's responding, or is he just curious how our days are all the time?
No, I think he's responding because that's just how we have always responded to him.
I don't know. The jury's still out on that one.
I mean, generally, he does care. He's a normal person. He cares.
Does he though? No, I'm just kidding, Matt, if you're listening, which I know you're not. But great guy. Love him. We got to have him back on. Or not. Let us know. Email us at wanderingwayspodcast@gmail.com. WANDERWAYSPODCAST@gmail.com. And let us know if you want us to talk to Matt Buddy or not.
Yeah. No, let us know. Or anything else you want to let us know at the same website.
And my favorite is when our listeners will still shoot us an email and tell us hey, went to Yellowstone Park, listen to your reviews, it helped me decide and take my family and do the right things. All those type of emails we get from you guys. Oh, we love it. And if you have something like one of our top 5s, it was a top 5 that happened eons ago, last year. We'll still read your top 5, just so you know.
Oh, 100%. I love reading people's top 5s. Whether it's, gear, whether it's parks, whether it's rivers, I don't care. I enjoy our wish list. That's always a fun one. The wish lists are actually probably my favorite ones to read because I like seeing where people want to go.
Yeah, well, and then you add it to yours, right? And then your wish list becomes oh God, there's 30 places we need to go now.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. That's why. I like hearing their top 5 parks and their wish list, because then I just start adding to mine.
No, I totally get that. But what have you been? I know you had some time finally. You've been working like crazy, but you've had some time to get out. Have you been able to get outside at all?
Yes, but not in like the usual like outdoor exploring manner. I have been getting out more, but I've been running. um,
Oh,
I've been
not
I've been
not biking.
running a lot more outside anyway. I have more time so I can go for longer runs, which has been nice.
Not biking.
No, I have been biking a little bit. Not as much. It's been really cold, and so it's easier to be warm while running than it is to be warm while biking. So
Makes sense.
I have biked because I actually did like a triathlon the other week. Did not do very well, but you know I did it. Um,
That's all that matters in my book, because like unless you're really good at it, no one fucking cares. So as long as you finished.
Right. No, and it was one I wasn't actually planning to want. I didn't want to be, or I wasn't planning to be competitive in it. It was one of those things I wanted to do it to see where I was. So I signed up for one to see where I would rank without much training. And so I got everything I needed out of it that I did. And I knew I wasn't going to do good, and I didn't do good. So it was kind of as expected.
Well, it is what it is, but it's good to see that you're out having fun doing it.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to check out and hear the stories of the triathlon and the training, make sure to check out The Unathletic Trainer. Theunathletictrainer.com. That's where you can hear well, not here, you can read all of the training journals, the race recaps, the race previews, all that fun stuff. Anything I'm doing in the fitness world. So,
Well, if they want to hear it, here's my fix, right? Copy and paste it, drop it in a text to yourself. When that text arrives, make sure you're in your car. Make sure you have a car that is one of those like Apple CarPlay where it'll read your text for you. There you go.
yeah, just put it into Microsoft Sam.
Yeah, there you go. Rather than reading it, that's the
Yeah.
easy fix. Easy.
No, but I'm actually planning to get out here more soon. Probably more running outdoors, getting on those trails, just enjoying the views of it. Make sure. Yeah, it's running. So if you enjoy running, it's being outdoors. I'll share pics of my runs and bikes on the Instagram. So, I have been outside more than usual. That's not work related, so it's been exciting, but still ramping it up more and more. The holidays, you end up spending time with family, and my family, they like to do stuff outside, but they don't like to go deep, deep, deep into stuff like I do.
They don't want to look for Bigfoot. They think he's going to be on the side of the road, but there's a lot of stories where he's just on the side of the road.
There are. Actually, someone told me a Bigfoot story the other day, and I'm trying to remember it, and I wish I did. I really do wish I did. It was at Thanksgiving is when it was brought up, because someone asked me if we're still looking for Bigfoot, and I said, yeah, of course.
Every day.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Even
I
when
talked about our interview with Mike, so.
No, and I know Squatch, great guys. They gave away a T-shirt on the Rougarou Instagram to lucky lady. She won my contest. I hit 2,000 likes, and I can't think follows, not likes, follows. I finally hit 2,000 followers on the Jeep, and it's blown up since then. And I just appreciate all you guys. If any of you Jeepers are listening, so I want to make that known. But it's been fun. It's been keeping me getting outdoors. I was just hunting last week out in good old eastern Montana, where you wake up real early, you see a sunrise, and I kid you not, it's going to be one of the most beautiful sunrises you've ever seen in your life. Just if you don't believe me, go to my Instagram at the Rougarou. Right there's the Jeep, there's the sunrise, no filter added. It was, oh my God, dude, it was spectacular. Just the way
I'm sure
the golden sun builds on those clouds.
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
And you're out. The thing I like about eastern Montana is it's high desert, so you can see for like 80 miles, and the sky, like if you're like, oh, I call it big sky country, Montana, I get a lot of people joke. No, this is why. You get out there, you're like, holy shit, this is crazy.
Yeah, it
I
is.
get
It
it.
is interesting because you hear big sky, and like even before I went out to Montana, I was like, I've been out in the middle of nowhere and like looked up at the stars, but it is different in Montana.
It's better. No.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I love it because you can just see everything. You can see things coming, and I get that because I was talking to Thea about like her reasons for not liking Oregon, and part of those reasons were she feels claustrophobic because of the hills, the windy roads, the overcast clouds, right? All that kind of just that trap feeling, and it makes sense. She's from Wolf Point, where fuck you could see North Dakota from her house because it's so goddamn flat. But I get it though. Because the more and more now that my parents live in Oregon, I go back and forth almost fucking weekly, it feels like. And the way the weather is and how it works and just seeing and this and I get that. I do get that feeling because I now look back at my times at Oregon State and I go, I wonder if I was like a little depressed at certain moments and times where it was increased due to the weather. Like in those winter months when you're like kind of just like
the rain. A lot of people don't like the rain. That's most people's complaints is the rain.
yeah, it's a different rain because it's not like here in Montana when it rains, it pours for half hour or two, right? Like that's a typical storm, and because they roll in, roll out, right?
Yeah.
Every once in a while you'll have those couple days where it's like, oh, it hangs around and it's very similar to Oregon. But that's constant over there. I feel like, you go out and they act like it doesn't rain here. Fuck, it's always coming out of the sky. You walk into the fog, that's technically water moving up and down and all the fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it is, I mean, shoot, we've had months, a whole month before where it's just nothing but rain the whole month. I get it. Rain isn't for everyone. I love the rain.
Well, I love it. But talking about rain, I'm going to go into snow here because back to hunting, when we were hunting, I noticed something. I was paying attention to the clouds, and maybe that's it too, because out in eastern Montana, I can read the clouds. I can look at them and say, that storm building up over there, on the west in the mountains is the way those clouds are, I can't like talk it to explain it, but I could visually show you like these clouds mean it's going to snow because you can just kind of tell by the movement, the way they're moving, how quick they're moving. But I took a picture of Petrolia Lake. And if you've ever been to Petrolia Lake with me, it is one of those lakes where I kid you not, it's always windy. Always. Like every time I'm there. And eastern Montana is known for some of its harsher winds. You hear you coasties and those people down in Florida complain, oh, the winds are going to hit 100 miles an hour today. Well, that's just a normal day out in eastern Montana sometimes, or the Rocky Mountain front, as we call it. But it's fine because it was weird because this lake was just flat, dead still. And I'm like, I've never in my life seen that. And you could see the clouds and they're wispy and the way they bent and curved, almost like they were coming off the mountains, but then coming back and forming more so as they come back to the mountains. And sure enough, it snowed that night. Not only that, but the deer, typically when hunting, the best times to shoot a deer are, the golden hour in the morning and the golden hour at night because they're moving around. They're smart animals. They know they're not going to get shot at night. So that's why they move frequently. And they've become more nocturnal as animals as people have conquered the land that they've once called home. And these animals and deer, which was weird, we weren't seeing them moving around the same way at sunset. We saw them moving around a couple hours before. And we're thinking like, oh, this is great. They're already up moving. there's going to be more, we're going to get one. Well, that's not the case. And these guys outsmarted us, and we didn't see anything after that. And they headed out in the snow the next morning, and I ended up driving to Oregon. On the first 2 hours of my drive was a sheet of ice. So it snowed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Snow's a different beast. Some people like snow more. Some people like rain more. Some people like the sun more. If you're in one camp or the other, I encourage you to find a place and live in a place where it has your ideal weather. Will make your life a little bit easier.
And I think, what is it, Colorado? That's why Denver is so popular. They get all 4 seasons.
And some people like that too.
No, I like the snow. The thing about like the snow that I'm very grateful for is I've been able to grow up in it. I've been able to learn to drive on it. I've been able to put a lot of miles on a car. When I talk about driving on it on snow, which a lot of people don't have, which I'm very thankful for. I love that it scares people away, and I love Yellowstone in the winter because all you tourists are at home because it's too cold to come up here, and all the other entrances are closed except Gardner or West Yellowstone.
Yellowstone in the winter is a blast. We have done a breakdown of it. If anyone is interested, you just got to go deep dive into the
episode 37.
Is it actually episode 37? That's pretty impressive. You know that off the get-go.
Episode 35 is Glacier.
Is that how it is? I'm actually pretty impressed you know that off the top. I don't think it is, though.
I'll bet you $100 right now on the podcast live.
Well, there's the Yellowstone breakdown, but is there
37.
Winter Yellowstone?
Oh, I don't know where winter Yellowstone's kind of deep because that was like last December when I was there, January, February. I thought you were saying that you said breakdown. You said breakdown, and I said 37.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, we've talked about Winter Yellowstone before.
Yes.
On the, because I've been to Yellowstone in the winter. You've been to Yellowstone in the winter. Ironically, they're roughly around the same. I think Winter Yellowstone, we talk about it in like the 20s. So check out Wandering Ways episode, I don't know, like 27, 28. Check out one of those.
20 to 30.
Yeah, somewhere in there we talk about Winter Yellowstone.
Like it, review it. If that's not the one, like and review that one, and then get on to the next episode, guys.
Yeah, or not, because we're going to talk a little bit about it today.
We are, and I'm excited because, it's early December. In some places, we've started to see snow. Others, not quite yet. It's Mother Nature, Sometimes out here in Montana, it snows October and it doesn't go away till May. Other years, it snows in January, February, and goes away and doesn't come back. And it's kind of interesting how the weather works like that in these places. But in the winter, I think you get to see these parks almost as close to what they truly are, because not a lot of people are out in them in the winter. And I think you see the wildlife more the way it is. You get those moments where it can be you and just the Delicate Arch, or it can be you and just Horseshoe Bend, because it's not peak tourist season. Peak tourist season is from Labor Day to Memorial Day, right? Or Memorial Day to Labor Day, the other way around.
Yeah. No, I like exploring parks in the winter. I like exploring places in the snow. I like exploring them in those because it's different. It is the same, right? Because it's the same place you've been, but that tree that you've seen every time you go in the summer, it looks different. So the whole landscape is acting different. The noises are different. You hear different noises in the winter than you do in the summer, spring, or fall. So I enjoy it. The nice part about like a winter, especially like Yellowstone or anywhere you really get a lot of snow, there's a silence to everything. And it's like a true silence where, even if you get a day where there's no wind, where you don't hear the wind right? It's just like deadbeat silence, and you can hear the crunch of your footsteps, right? And that is a cool experience in itself.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you don't believe us, one of the things like hunting, right, that I can speak to for this is I've been able to hunt on a 70-degree day. I've been able to hunt on a negative 15-degree day in the same location, right? It's crazy how things change. And exactly the noise, right? Even a gun going off on an 80-degree day, a lot louder than one going off in the snow. And just how everything happens and works. When it does get cold, though, you got to be careful of things. You got to warm up. You got to keep warm. You got to make sure you're wearing your mittens and gloves, though, because sometimes you get that bare skin on a piece of metal. That bare skin is going to rip right off. So you got to be careful. You also got to be smart. And I think that's the issue with the winter and these parks too, is safety, because you get a lot of people that, I want to go to Yellowstone. I want to see a fox hunt voles and mice in the snow. I want to see a bison use his head to push the snow and get down to the grass below. But you don't necessarily know how to go about it, or you've never been on the snow before, or the ice, and you don't know how to handle it. And that's fine. Take your time, go slow, and just don't think that you're the only one out there sometimes, because you're not. But if you are in some places, also know the way you got in, the way you got out. I always say keep an eye on the clouds, because they're going to tell you if it's going to rain or snow before it rains or snows. They're going to tell you if it's windy or not, because you can tell by the way they're moving in the air. And if they're coming towards you, if they're dark, if they're light, all the above. The one thing, though, that is hard to tell when it comes to some of these parks that I've noticed is a lot of them are in the mountains, and mountains build their own weather systems. So you can be in a Yellowstone park and it's a nice 60-degree snowy day. The roads are kind of clear, but within moments it can turn into a blizzard. And it without warning on your phone, because these mountains can build those storms just like that. It's crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah. And if you're really, really still worried about all of the logistics of stuff like that, but you still really want to see Yellowstone in the winter, go to West Yellowstone, and they have a ton of tours, whether it's a bus tour, or I guess it's more of a van tour in the winter, or snowmobile tours. You can still get in the park with organized tours out of West Yellowstone. You can see a lot of cool stuff, from bison to Old Faithful to the foxes, to all that same fun and exciting things you would see on your own, but you can take the worry out of it, of you're not the one driving. You're not the one leading the way, right? So if you are still, I highly encourage checking out West Yellowstone in the winter to check out some of those tours.
No, that's perfect. That's great. And what sucks is you used to be able to take your own snowmobiles into the park, but it doesn't suck because it was like environmental friendly, because the just the shit that people would do. Now it's a little bit more managed. We can keep that area a little bit more beautiful because you guys fucked it up. And like, that's the problem, is we like to blame other people. Like I say, you guys, but really it's all of us. We fucked it up. We're the reasons these rules exist.
Yep.
And if you don't look at it that way, you're part of the problem.
Yep.
But I'm curious, Mark. I look back. We're getting into this. We're getting into some of the parks in the winter that we've been to. Yellowstone for me, I've been up around Glacier in the winter. I haven't gone into Glacier in the winter because they pretty much close all the good stuff off. But again, me and you were having this debate, and I call it a debate, but it's not even that, because we're on the same side, I think, where we were talking about going to North Cascades Park because it's something we really want to do. And there's the Highlands, the Highwoods, the Enchantments.
I had no idea what you're talking about. No,
the Highwood, the Highwoods are a mountain range in Montana. No, the Enchantments, and how they are two different parks, but essentially the same park. Like the Beartooth Pass and Yellowstone Park aren't to me, they're the same park because they're the same mountains. But
yeah,
they're
it's all
different.
part of the Cascade Mountains, right? But North Cascades is the park. Enchantments is actually closer to Leavenworth.
Okay.
And then Rainier, that's a park, and that's part of the Cascades as well. There's Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all the Washington stuff. We haven't even talked about the Oregon
No,
stuff.
I get that. I meant like more how like they're close in proximity, but you could almost argue that they're the same. They're the same larger ecosystem.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
when you look at the Yellowstone ecosystem, you include Grand Tetons and surrounding areas. Um, and my thought with that is like I've been up to Glacier in the winter in that area, especially Highway 2, the one we took with Matt and Bobby and Tyler, up in that area in the winter with snow. It gets scary up there. That's a sketchy road because you are going over the Continental Divide and in the winter, and that pass is pretty high up there. But I do like the animals. You get a little bit more of a fluffier goat snow than you do in the summer.
That is true. They are a wee bit fluffier. They're trying to stay warm, so.
Right. But where have you been in the winter?
Winter wise, I haven't done a whole lot when it comes to like the parks and stuff. I've done the redwoods because I lived down there for so long. So I would scoot on over to like a Fern Canyon in the winter. Um, I've done like with state parks. I've done the like Silver Falls that's in Oregon in the winter, which that's a fun one. I encourage people to go to those waterfalls in the winter because there's a little bit more water, so you can really kind of see the power of these waterfalls. Unless you're in the areas that have all the snow, then sometimes they get a little icy and it's not as powerful of a waterfall. But
they're cool when they're frozen.
they super cool.
So don't knock it. Don't knock it.
Yeah. But like here in Oregon, when you go to like a Silver Falls, if you go in January in winter, it's not as much snow, but it's been raining for so long that like now those rivers just have so much water. So all of the waterfalls there at Silver Falls are just powerful. And you're just like, these are some crazy waterfalls.
That's when I took Jared, actually, was in last January when we went out there. And we talk about it on here. And some of those videos are from here. And yeah, it makes sense now looking at those waterfalls in those videos. Because I was like, I thought I've been here.
Yeah.
And this be a little like, yeah, not as powerful, but like trickling kind of.
Yeah, I mean, they really move. I've been fortunate enough to do it kind of twice in this winter-esque months. And man, it's seeing the waterfalls when there's a lot of water is pretty impressive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's just like even going to Yellowstone that time, you, Kaz, and Thea went in May, and big falls of the Yellowstone River. That one, same thing, where it's just a little bit more water.
Yeah. No, and when you're checking out water stuff and there's a lot more water, it's pretty cool. But there's things you need less water, so you can cross like a creek or a river that you're not going to be able to do that in a like January with some of these, where you can in like July when the water's way down. You can go and explore different areas because you can get to things better.
Like the Narrows down in Zion, right? That's one that is totally dependent. You want it to be lower water where there's less chance of floods because you don't want to die.
100%. That is one you do not want to do when there's a chance of a flash flood, because you'll see the signs of when there were floods. Actually, I think we've shown videos on here of some of the floods, and it is nuts. Water is powerful. If you guys don't know this.
Well, getting familiar with that drive, the Oregon Gorge, right? 84, Portland to Umatilla, right up. And right there, man, if you really look at that water and think like there are how, and I've said this millions of times, there are how many people sucking water off that river, not only Portland and all that, but go all the way up to British Columbia, all those towns that are sucking water off it, Tri-Cities, this, that, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. That's life. But you look at like the levels of where that water used to be, right? It's just nuts to think like that should be like 50 feet higher. It should be more to that bank, you know. It's crazy. And that's gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of water just in a foot of water. And when we talk about our sea levels rising by like 10 feet, we're like, oh, whatever. Do you know how much water? Like 75% of the earth is water. So that's saying that 75% is going to grow by like 10 feet.
Yeah, no, that it's nuts. And you know, you'll see like you take like a Lake Shasta, you know, you see how low those water levels are, and you can see where they used to be, and you're like, God damn.
Well, not to get too far off topic as we wander this way, but I was watching this thing with my dad, and we're starting to hit this like, hey, this is an uncharted zone. We don't know what to fucking do. Everything we do is kind of first steps, right? Well, when they set up that Colorado River and they put all them dams on it, right? A lot of that water somehow finds its way into like California cities and towns and like LA, San Diego, right? Somehow they get access to that water. Well, Phoenix all of a sudden has what, 7 million people now?
A lot of people.
And when they were doing this, they only had like maybe 100,000 if they set it up, if that even. They were just a desert town. But because we were able to figure out ways of damming up water and stopping, we've allowed a population to grow there. And it's causing issues for those further downstream.
100%.
And you're just like, oh God, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know what that means? Time for another commercial break where we get to tell you to like, subscribe, and review our podcast. Whether you're getting that podcast on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, WhatsApp, whatever podcast app you use, you can make it happen.
And don't forget, this is also the time to let you guys know that you can pick up that Wandering Ways swag at the Teespring. Make sure to check it out. The link is in the bio down below or in the episode description. It's even in the show description too if you can't find it in the episode. But you can go on there. You can get your sweatshirts. You can get your shirts. You can get long sleeves, short sleeves. You can even get some socks. It looks pretty cool. Highly recommend. You will be impressing everybody at your next bonfire with some Wandering Ways swag.
You know, and if that's not enough, we're going to tell you to follow us individually on our social medias. You could check me out at the Ruguru or Zach of Wandering Ways. You know, check out the adventure firsthand where there might not be any ads.
Exactly. And who doesn't like some good free pub? I need the followers to go up. So I'm going to throw out Reverend Marcus. Check me out on the Twitter, on the Instagram. I do some cool stuff. So please give me the follow. All right.
We also do not cool stuff.
Yeah. But anyways, let's keep wandering on. Keeping with the water theme, it actually is kind of a perfect segue into some cool shit in nature. This week's cool shit in nature is actually slightly water themed. It is also kind of winter themed too, keeping along with everything here. I'm gonna show you guys what happens when heavy rain hits this park in Brazil. It turns a regular old park into like the coolest underwater like trail out there.
Okay. I've seen videos from this place before. I want to go.
I know, right? You know what I always think of when I see this is a really nice fish tank. You know, when people really maintain and make a beautiful like fish tank, this is exactly what I think of because it's very green. but it's fresher water. And it just, you would think there'd be just a ton of fish. There probably are, just we can't see it in this video.
Well, that bridge is going over something, so that water must be kind of at that bridge level. But I mean, it's probably as tall as the railing twice, Oh, there it is to the railing.
Yeah.
But in the first clip, it's like double the railing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of water. A lot of water here. It's kind of crazy to think like what enough rain can do.
Right? It really is. And actually, I was talking to my dad about rain, and here in Montana, we don't get a lot. Like I want to say we get like 2 to 3 inches a year of rain, maybe. And he's like, that's what we got this weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's really not a lot. Like,
no,
that could be a day in Oregon.
Yeah. And I was like, oh shit. And he was like telling me all that stuff. I could be off by the numbers, but it was like it was a significant amount where he was like, basically the rainfall we get one weekend is what you guys get in a year. I was like, oh
yeah, I believe that too. So I got another one for you. This one I thought was kind of cool. You probably read it.
Yeah.
But no, it's nuts. So what it is for the people listening is we're watching this whale that's floating dead. It's been dead for a while, but you know how when things die, they start to bloat.
Yep.
And when there's not enough space, pressure gets high enough on the inside of something, it then goes to the outside, obviously. Implosion. And this whale implodes. You see the implosion from it, and you see now it's all the guts and stuff.
Look at those intestines
floating on the water.
Those intestines just look like a bunch of fire hoses.
Yeah, it really does. It looks like someone took a bunch of like fishnet, and they're kind of just sitting there where you have like the top of the fishnet, and it's just like all the different buoys and stuff
balled up, kind of.
Yeah.
That's kind of almost like they weren't expecting that too, the way they're filming it. Like, oh, look, a dead whale. And then, oh, this thing just blows up.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. I mean, you can see the lungs in there.
Yeah. But it makes sense too, though. Like it's got to decompose somehow, and it's got to serve its purpose, just like in Planet Earth, when they show the one at the bottom, or is it Blue Planet? One of the two.
I think they show them honestly in both, but...
And it goes all the way to the bottom, and how it just is like a life source for everything. And yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's how we watch Planet Earth and Blue Planet and all, like David Attenborough shows. Which one was that? Yeah. Well, it was part of that series. Was it, or was it the offshoot one?
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I've always heard about the whales exploding like that. I've never seen it, and so when I saw that video, I was like, "Whoa, cool!"
That is cool. No, that is really cool, because it does look like kind of just like because it doesn't look like a bomb blew it up either.
It kind of looks like it's thrown up, to be honest.
Exactly.
It looks like the whale's just like it spills its guts.
Right? The path of least resistance almost.
Yeah.
Versus if it exploded like an actual explosion, it would go everywhere, but it kind of just comes out the one hole, it looked like.
Yeah, and it looks like it was like maybe closer to the mouth of where it was. Whereas like when I think of a true explosion, it'd be like the stomach kind of going, but this one, it just looks like it's thrown up.
But it probably, in a sense, is like an inversion of like that coming out the mouth. All that.
Yeah, it probably is. I think there's less, blubber's pretty thick. So I think it's probably takes less pressure to have it come out the mouth rather than out like the side.
Yeah. Plus there's like a hole.
Yeah, right. There's already a hole made, so makes it a little bit easier.
Right? A little bit of air seeping through there.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, keeping to like a winter-esque theme here. We've talked about some things we've done in the winter. To close out today, we're going to talk about things we want to do in the winter.
I think oh, sorry, I think specifically kind of places, right? Like, these hidden gems, I think you can kind of find in the off season, which typically the off season happens to be winter for a lot of people. I also find that when you do go to some of these parks in the winter, even the southern parks in the winter, they're not as staffed, even though, like, say, a Grand Canyon is going to get, visitors in December. People will hike down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon because the weather down there is fine in the winter. Up top might be a different story because you're at a higher altitude. But there's some cool things in the off season that, that's, to me, you see the babies sometimes if you play your cards right. There's less people, so you really can have some of these places for yourself. So that's why I like to think of that. And personally, I think when people travel in the winter, they're traveling to see family, not necessarily go places. The go places travel, to me, seems like it's more summer for people. So just the less likely chance of running into people is always a plus in my book.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's a huge perk of traveling in the winter and going to these places in the winter, because you're going to get a lot less people. People stay inside in the winter, and I get it. I'm not saying I'm not saying you're an idiot for staying inside. I understand. It's a lot cozier inside. It's not as wet, whether snow or rain. It's harder to get to places too in the winter, usually, whether there's floods, snow, ice, all that fun stuff. So, I get why there are places that have less people. Doesn't mean they're not cool though. So the places like I want to go to, I have on here places I've been, but they're places I want to go in the winter because, one, I've seen pictures of these places in the winter. I've seen pictures of like a Zion. I got a Zion on here, and seeing the rocks in the snow, seeing desert with snow, like that kind of Utah desert with snow, is really cool because it doesn't lay like it does elsewhere with like trees and stuff. So it's very cool to see that.
Well, and in my off-season trip down, we did a spring break trip in March, early March one year. So kind of late winter. And we went down to the south. We hit Grand Canyon, Zion, Bryce, Capitol Reef, and then we headed home. But Bryce Canyon still had snow. And it was a lot different. Trails were closed. The ranger station wasn't even really that open. We just kind of rolled right into the park, hung out, saw what we saw, and left, because there really wasn't much to do there at that time, because it was kind of in that weird transition where I bet there's a little bit more to do when there is more snow. But this was like, well, half of it's here and half of it's melting, so you don't want to go down that path because it's muddy and wet and you'll fall.
Yeah.
But I totally get what you're saying, because like before this episode, when we were talking, like when I sent you a text last night saying we need to figure out our plans for next year, and I low-key Zion was on my list for one of those. It was like like small trips. Like, hey, maybe we can get away with that one in the winter. So just so you know, it's on my list too.
Yeah, that a Bryce Canyon would be a lot of fun to do. I have talked about how I want to do Bryce in depth more. I've been very vocal about that one, so I get that, especially with the snow, because the way, like the red rock, the way snow sits on that is so unique.
Oh, I know, because even the way it sits on those what are those called, those pillar things?
Pinnacles.
Is it the pinnacle ones, the small ones where there's a bunch of them, or the needle ones?
Yeah,
well, no, the Needles is a district in Capitol Reef, Canyonlands.
Yeah. Well, I think there's Pinnacles too. That's like a district. I don't know the actual terminology of the way the rocks are when they're
the things that look like little stuff in a cave, but they're not in a cave and they're a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Rocks.
They're just like little skinny towers.
And they look amazing with snow on them.
Oh, I bet.
Message us that name, because we're blanking and we're recording live.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel you. For me too, I'm curious to, I'm tired of the snow, especially come February. If it's a year where we got our first snowstorm in November and we're just fucking dealing with snow, come February, I'm like, get me somewhere warm. I'm thinking Big Bend down in Texas. I'm thinking Everglades in Florida. Also thinking that other park in Florida that I'm spaced, but you'll
Dry
know the name.
Tortugas.
Thank you. And we could go to Hawaii because I bet you it's still going to be 80 degrees and nice, just like it was in June when we went.
I agree with that one. The only issue with Hawaii is everyone thinks like you. They've been tired of the snow and the cold, so they're like, let's go to Hawaii.
Yeah. So we actually did the right thing there and went in that off season.
Yeah. When it's hot here, that's when you go because there's less people.
Right. No, I liked it. I liked that one. What other parks you got? What other winter parks you got?
I mean, I want to go to Grand Canyon. A lot of it's the desert. I think would be really cool to see. If we're not going desert, I put probably one of the most plausible ones for me to go and see, which is just Crater Lake up here. I've seen enough pictures of Crater Lake in the winter and how the snow sits on that going up and seeing that the lake with all of it and the island with all the snow would be really cool to see. So I have that one on here because of how plausible it is for me to see it.
Well, then we should this year, just for the fans.
Yeah,
you guys, the wanderers. The one I want to go, when you talk pictures, you talk snow like that. Just take a wild guess. It's over in your neck of the woods, kind of, sort of, not really.
For snow, Yosemite.
Ish, but Sequoia.
Oh yeah. 100%. Sequoia would be amazing. I just mainly want to go to Sequoias. So right now I'll take Sequoia any time of year.
Except with fires.
Honestly, I'll take fires. I
don't think we can get in with.
I don't think so either. But I'll go risk it for fires. There'll be less people. So
I'll be asked to leave.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll go any time of the year. I really want to see old General Sherman. I want to see those absolute behemoths of a tree. I've seen pictures of it in the snow, and it's pretty legit.
Well, exactly. And like you were saying, Crater Lake photos, and I know exactly the photos you're speaking of because there's like the iconic one, right? It's like Old Faithful in the snow, right?
Yeah.
That iconic photo, you're like, damn, that's really pretty and cool. Crater Lake has that, but it's the drive-through tree in Sequoia when it's just snow.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah. You know what would be cool about Sequoia in the winter is so you have that silence that snow brings, right?
That the big trees bring too.
Yeah. So you have that silence plus you're tiny. You're absolutely an ant amongst giants. So it would be such a odd experience. It'd be your senses would be just thrown off huge, I think. And so I think that right there would be so unique in itself that it would be, we talk in our reviews and stuff about the awe factor. I mean, I think that would be the awe factor about that park.
And for some people, it would be a gnaw factor. Because
that's true. It would be
because of the silence as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, though? Like, no, fuck no, I don't want to. Bigfoot's out there. He's gonna get me in the quiet.
Yeah. No.
Haven't you seen scary movies? It's when it's silent is when you're attacked.
But it's so silent you could hear him coming.
But you don't, though.
I mean, I'm partially deaf, so I can't anyway. But
I know you are.
But yeah, so I honestly I totally forgot about Sequoia.
Because there's so many great parks.
There really is. There really is.
You know, I would even be down because I've seen like, and this is kind of in my neck of the woods, right? You got like the Badlands.
That would be a
winter.
cool one too.
Especially with the like the way the snow, like you get the grass that goes right to the Badland, right? Like the big grasslands kind of just right up to that stuff. So that would be snow. I'm assuming if the wind hasn't blown it all away, it gets windy over there. And then we kind of, I guess we saw that area in the snow when you came over that one spring break you had. We went to the Black Hills in the snow and saw Mount Rushmore. Well, you didn't see Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. I did not see Mount Rushmore. Yeah, I forgot we did those parks technically in the winter. You know, we went to Devil's Canyon in the winter. We did Mount Rushmore in the winter. We did Crazy Horse in the winter.
Yeah.
Some of the Black Hills, you know, we drove through the Black Hills in the winter. Which that was really cool. Sure wish we could have seen Mount Rushmore that day, but
you got background to it.
That is honestly one of my favorite pictures I have. It's just like, yeah, can't see it. Right. But I'm definitely at the spot.
Well, the best part is like the clouds because of how that mountain sits there. And like what's really shitty is if you look at pictures before that, it was like a really cool rock formation. And it was like considered a holy rock formation to the Sioux people because they believe they came from the Black Hills, right? Like that's their origin story. Like we are from this land.
Yeah.
And that rock to them it's a whole different story, but like it's like right where they started carving up is where those clouds begin on your picture. Because you can still see the like rubble and shit down below.
Yeah. The way the clouds were, it was like perfect just to hide what Mount Rushmore is. You can see most everything else.
Oh, it was funny. That was a good one. And you got to experience the Montana blizzard out there in eastern Montana driving. Oh,
we went to Sturgis.
We did.
Yeah, that was a fun little trip.
It was an interesting trip.
Yeah, there was a lot. I don't know if we've ever talked about that one on here. Maybe we'll have to break that one down. There are videos of the trip, I'm pretty sure, on the YouTube. So make sure you check out the Wandering Ways YouTube page.
This is like this would be like early days Quartz Lake production.
Oh, super.
So if you guys want some OG stuff, the OGs know. You guys out there.
It's like way, way early. You know, it's like when I was filming with the GoPro all the time.
2016.
Yeah. And, you know, I think that's the trip. That's like that. We did it on a spring break. So it was like March. And I ended up doing a trip going out there where we went and I did like the Mount Hood area. We did Smith Rock. We did something else in that area. And then we went all the way out and we fell asleep in the museum in Bozeman.
Oh yeah, because that's where we met you because Matt was starting school. Well, orientation or whatever he had to do.
Yeah, he was going to go out to school out that way.
Yeah. And him and Josh both wanted to walk around that campus. And
what a trip down memory lane, everybody.
Reminisce.
Yeah. We can't reminisce too much because I got to be that guy. I got to be that guy. I know it's been kind of a ride. This one went a lot longer. We honestly didn't get to talk about as much as we really wanted to today. So maybe we'll do some more winter parks or winter-esque activities in the future. But you know, I'm being that guy as we're getting into our final words. So final words, my man.
You know, guys, I just want to thank each and every one of you individually. So Tom, Janice, John. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but I want to thank each and every one of our wanderers. You guys, you know, well, yes and no. Like, I think we'd still do this if you didn't exist, but it makes it a lot better because you guys exist. I don't know, it's fun. I love, like, I get messages on Instagram all the time, mainly from Jeep people. But even every once in a while, we'll get, like, I had a lady, I forget who it was, just reached out to me yesterday, said, "Can you send me a link to your podcast?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, I will." That was like the first one. I'm excited. Not, "Where'd you get that grill? Where'd you get your bumper?" So, which it's posted and tagged in many photos. But I love it. I love you guys. And, find your parks in the winter. We've talked about this here before, where it's just like finding out where and what you want to do. Personally, for me, in the snow, I like seeing the wildlife. Specifically because you almost do get them in more of a natural state in these places where there aren't a lot of people. So the animal's going to be more animal than more like, hey, there's people over there, so I'm not going to hunt the same field today, but now I can hunt this field, or whatever that may be. Kind of gave me some ideas. I think I want to go over to the Black Hills this winter, maybe even Teddy Roosevelt National Park up there in North Dakota, which I'm surprised you and I haven't gone to with its proximity to us as well. But we'll figure it out one of these days, or not. We'll let you know. That's what this podcast here is for. You guys can come check it out and tune in next week when we talk some more whatever about nature as we wander on. All right, your turn, Reverend.
Yeah. Reverend's final words of wisdom today. Stay beautiful, everybody. Cannot tell you how much I appreciate you enough. You guys are truly amazing. Make sure you go out and wander to all these different places, or check out all these different things. I gave a shameless plug earlier. I'm going to shameless plug it again. TheUnathleticTrainer.com. Check it out. It's more it's the more health fitness side of stuff that I do. It's honestly, if you took my personal notebook of things I write down in there and put it onto a blog type format, that's what it is. That's actually 100% really what it is. It's my notebooks that I write in daily, whether it's thoughts, whether it's nerd outs, whether it's whatever, and I put it out there to share with people because I think it's interesting and other people find it interesting as well. So please check it out, TheUnathleticTrainer.com. That being said, everybody, peace out.
Bye.